everyone. That's just a little taste of what's to come tonight. Maria really doesn't need any introduction. 25 years at New York City Ballet, and during that time, I mean, what a career. She's been a sugar plum, a floozy showgirl, a diamond, a ruby, a swan. You've been it all, but one of your greatest roles is the artistic director of New Jersey Ballet, which Maria took the helm about 3.5 years ago. And she's done extraordinary things. And just in that short amount of time, you've really put the company on the map. And I'd love for you to bring us inside. Tell us a little bit about your vision and where you are in process with the company.
Thank you, Donya. Good evening, everyone. Well, when I took the directorship at New Jersey Ballet, I think I felt like there was a lot of work to do. I wanted to rebrand the company. I wanted to make it competitive with other companies of its size. I knew that new repertory had to be introduced to the company, and I also knew that new commissions needed to be introduced to the company. And I think it's really important in a small company, you want to find your voice. I think we're still finding our voice, but obviously my influence, George Balanchine and Jerome Robbins, it's in my blood and my bones, so of course I'm going to bring those works to the company because I feel like they shape a dancer with a musicality, and to be really honest, watching these dancers take on these works, I think they've become better dancers. They're more free, they're more abandoned, and I know it's important for musicality and just to challenge them as artists. And I think commissioning new works is super important because I know as a dancer, having new works created on me, they found things in me that maybe I didn't know that I had. And I think they showcase the strengths of the company, the strength of the dancer, and it gives the choreographer an opportunity to really get to know the dancers and create a work that resonates with where we're at in the process of building a company. And it's been really exciting. I think we've come a long way in the last 3 years.
Yeah, you're selling out your houses. I mean, it's incredible. She's doubled the budget. You're creating these productions that are standing room only. Tell us a little bit about just how you've grown the company.
Well, I think it's important to really listen to the community. I think, we are right across the river from New York City, so I know a lot of people from New Jersey are going into the city to see performances, and I wanted to be able to create a company that, they had the best of the best at their back door without having to cross the river. And I think it's been challenging. Obviously, we have a very small budget, so we're trying to be creative about how we kind of bring the company to another level, and hiring more dancers, and raising the bar artistically with them. And I think every year we have new talent and new exciting dancers that come in, and it's making the company more appealing. And I think opportunities like this is we're so lucky to be here and to showcase our work, and I think all of these things are elevating the company and taking us to another level.
And Maria, you have really done things with your school. I mean, you've taken that to a new level as well. And, in the ballet world, kids do summer intensives where they go to a ballet company and they work with all of the people who are at that company. Well, Maria created a summer intensive for kids that was literally every famous ballet dancer in the entire planet came out to Florham Park, New Jersey. It was extraordinary. And that's because they did it for you.
Well, I'm so lucky to have so many wonderful friends that are very generous and supporting this new path of mine. And the fact that we had Christopher Wheeldon come out and do a Q&A, and Misty Copeland, and Wendy Whalen, and these dancers were they were in awe.
We would all be like, if just really the stars of the ballet world passing it on.
And I think it was important to both Martin and I that we start out with a bang. I think you have to put yourself on the map, and we were like, we have to go big, and then we wanted...
Martin is Martin Harvey.
Oh, sorry. That's my husband.
Maria's husband, who was a principal dancer at the Royal Ballet, and he heads the school right now.
So that was very important to us to create a really, really high-level summer intensive that everyone would come out and hopefully have a good experience. And I have to say, the dancers were buzzing, and I'm just so grateful that I have such wonderful friends that are so generous and came out to, teach them. And we had a really good first year, and I think this year is going to be even better.
And speaking of wonderful friends, Harrison Ball created your first big commission about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Tell us why you decided to have him back.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of social media, although we all have to keep up with it. But I do love that you can keep up with your friends on social media. And I saw that he was creating a work for the New York Choreographic Institute. And he was kind of putting little clips out there. And then actually, Zac Posen sent me a 4-minute clip of his work. And I was blown away. I really thought, wow, he has got something very special. It was an all-female cast, which was also very intriguing. The costumes were designed by Zac Posen. And the movement was very unique, and I said, wow, he has something very special. And I got to work with him as a dancer. I coached him in his debut in Swan Lake, and it's very different to see him as a dancer and choreographer. I think he's more comfortable as a choreographer, actually. I think he is pushing his boundaries. He definitely has a voice. He has something he wants to say, and it's been really interesting to see him evolve in this way.
Well, on that note, why don't we bring Harrison out? Harrison? Come on out. And Harrison, just to sort of piggyback on what Maria was saying, I was so lucky. On Friday, I went out to New Jersey Ballet and I watched Harrison work. And I have to say, you have a different, incredible kind of energy as a choreographer in the front of the room. It's different than when you were a dancer. You're so fully yourself. Will you talk about that a little bit? Just your voice as a choreographer?
I'll try.
With your deep pipes?
Yeah, I think that as dancers, we're innately quiet. Our job is to not speak, as you know. And I think that directing and choreographing has been something that I've been around, just like you and most of us who are dancers, my whole life. And I, as a dancer, always had really strong visions and impulses, but I could never find the pathway to bring those impulses through into my dancing. And I really struggled with that. So when I left the New York City Ballet and the months leading up, the Institute happened. And I had dibble-dabbled in institutes before under Peter Martins when I was in the school. And finally, I had that opportunity, and I thought, wow, this is really loud for me. And it was interesting to kind of see my brain outside of my body for the first time. And I think now that I'm getting a groove, and I've had the good fortune of having a little streak of commissions in the past few months, I'm finding that it's like the missing link, that I was always searching for as a dancer, and I finally have this opportunity to not only explore what I want to create, but also what I want to see, more importantly for me. So I find that, there's a great freedom to choreography.
Well, you're really inspiring to the dancers. And just in sort of talking about how you're so authentically you as a choreographer, you give them this imagery that I don't think anyone else in the world could say for people to understand. He'll say things like, I want you to luxuriate in the bed like you're at the Crillon in Paris, waking up in frotté sheets. And the girl's like, I got it, that's what it is. Just these hilarious but beautiful creative images, because you're an actor as well. And I think that you are bringing some really incredible things out of your dancers. So if you could, talk a little bit about that as an inspiration, and then your overall inspiration for this piece, your second time with these dancers.
Yes, it is. And I kind of bugged Maria to do this commission. I really wanted another go. I love these dancers, and they're so malleable and so hungry, and I think that's part in being where they are geographically. And I think that, like you said, this company's in a development period, and it's perfect for me because as am I. And when I left the New York City Ballet, I started to venture into the world of acting, which is something that I actually really enjoyed. I'm sure you know. You remember when we were dancing. I love the drama. I love a curtain.
Shocker,
I love a stage. And I found that when I left the ballet and I was exploring the choreography, in tandem to that, I was exploring the acting, and I was taking classes, and I was going to schools, and I was working with coaches, and just exploring text and a voice, which is something I hadn't done before. And then, you know, I find myself quite busy. I like to do many things, and I'm always exploring ways to kind of put myself out of my body. And with the acting, you know, that's something that I'm pursuing as a career path adjacent to my choreography. It's very quickly bleeding into my work. And, you know, there's been this thing when I watch dance that I find, you know, I spoke about this last year when I was here. I love the old world, and I love the old videos, and I love the theatricality that was presented in dance that I find, you know, it's not that it's not there, it's just different. And I find that I'm trying to bring more of that kind of black and white essence of film into dance. And when I'm working with the dancers, you know, I tend to work very slowly but quickly, but my method is a little bit, I'm slow, literally slow in the room. And I think that, in a funny way, is allowing more theatricality to kind of ooze out, because I have to find what's going on inside the spaces. So, you know, I'm working on a dance play, for example, right now with a great Shakespearean actress named Noma Dumezweni. And it's a miracle dance play based on a 12th century religious folktale. The music that I had been experimenting with in workshop rehearsals was actually kora music, which what you'll see tonight. And it's actually the music that I started the process with this actress. So we were creating, she's not a dancer, but I have her moving in this play. It's very, very fascinating. But I played with this idea, and then I just found that, in a way, this ballet is somewhat of a workshop for me for the other works that I'm creating. I mean, it's specifically for the ballet and for New Jersey Ballet, but I'm giving myself more license to play and be still and bring in a level of theatricality that I really desire when I'm watching dance, and that includes costumes, it includes physical mask work, it includes sound, it includes silence and space and intention, you know, and giving dancers kind of touch points like the sheets at the crayon, you know?
I love that. Well, speaking of the costume, you're so fortunate in that your husband is Zac Posen.
Sure am.
And he is an inspiration with his design. And I do believe we have Zac with us tonight. Come on down.
He's gonna be like Santa Claus and come on stage.
Yeah.
Come on, Zac. Hi, Zac.
Hi.
So are we gonna show some costumes?
Yeah, we're going to show some costumes. Literally work in process.
Okay, let's get the costumes out. Where are you guys? Come on out. Come. So these are prototypes. These aren't the...
These are also a work in progress.
Yes, exactly. This is
In
very
process.
much a work in process.
Well, I think, come. This is the team that I work with at Gap Studio, and I've worked with Leo, Sonia, and Lindsay. Well, I think we started out with a circular idea, right? So it was this idea of how the costume would start on the ground, which is a really interesting idea. I don't know if that came from the idea of lily pads, but we had these circles. So it's just kind of the full movement of it. So I think in terms of, I don't know, how you start in the ballet is on the ground, right? And it was pulling it. And we started there. And then there was this idea of having something that kind of looked like the male and the female costumes were the same, in a sense. So those are pants. It's not a skirt. You can show that they're there, exactly.
Turn around.
And in the process of that, playing with different tonalities of color, something that looked ancient, worn, and aged. And, you know, just raw edges in there. And one thing that was cool in this process for me was taking these to a wash house in New Jersey. And a wash house in the current world that we're working in is where denim is made. So these are taken into a wash house in New Jersey and sanded, because everything you wear when you wear denim and jeans and everything we make at Gap and at Old Navy gets sanded and then washed. So I don't know, how many seconds were these washed? Well, tell us about the wash process.
Let me.
Chemical product on it. Then we put stone inside. We heated it. Then it was washed and rinsed. And then we put it in the oven to dry, to have the color come back out, to have this look aged.
So it has the modeling quality of it. So I mean,
Let me talk a
quite
little bit
process.
about why we wanted this. So the ballet is called New Ancient Strings. It's a album that was created by Beleke Sissoko and Tumani Dubate, who are fantastic, iconic kora players, and their fathers made an album called Ancient Strings. So this is kind of a modern interpretation and much more luxurious in a way. But I'm fascinated with ancient everything. And I wanted to create something still, like I said, and I wanted to create something blurred and something that I actually said to Zac, I said, I want them to almost feel like we went to Pompeii and we found these perfectly preserved dresses in the ashes. They're not there
Preston,
yet.
can you show how they move?
Yeah, let's
Because they're very
move.
sort of Louis Fuller, giant,
Give us a twirl,
gorgeous
Denise.
skirts. Yeah, so beautiful.
So we have 19 dancers on stage all wearing these costumes. So when you come to see the ballet in New Jersey, you'll see a lot of this. And it's very, it's decadent.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
thank you, Zac. So nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Zac.
The costumes are amazing. They're just beautiful. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to be seeing. Set us up with what you're going to be working on with the dancers.
So today, I was kind of mixed about what to show because this ballet is a little over 30 minutes in entirety. I have all the dancers on stage at all times. It's very challenging to put 19 dancers on a smaller stage than intended. So, I picked this movement specifically because it's a bit more still. With that said, this moment in the ballet is probably the calmest moment of the whole ballet. There's about 4 movements, all of which are spanning between 6 minutes and 10 minutes. So this ballet really encompasses a journey, and it starts with the music. The music is really something. But in this particular movement, we've just finished a women's movement, and everyone leaves except for some figures. And just a sidebar, the video that you saw in the beginning, which looked like nothing, was an improvisation I did with 2 of the ballerinas at the company, and I just asked them to mirror me, and I was in a moment where I felt very stuck. And then I watched the video just kind of as a reconnaissance, and I said, I actually really like this. I just want to make this improvisation as a movement. So I took the steps as is and fleshed it out for 19 people. So there's really nothing other than what my father-in-law taught me, which is the première pensée, the idea of working with the first thought. So just as a challenge to myself in my creative process, I'm trying to abandon what I did as a dancer, which is think a lot, and just do, which is something that's a mantra at New York City Ballet. Just do. So this.
That's extraordinary. That just came out off the top of your head.
It's
and
the
you're
dancers.
Using,
It's the dancers. So we're gonna bring them out,
do
and
it.
we're gonna do some notes, and then we're gonna see it at the end of the night. So dancers, let's go. Koto, Noah, where are you? Queen Koto. Artistic coordinator of New Jersey Ballet. And my other half. Come. Okay, you guys come on stage. So this is what a works in process looks like. So, notes. Ladies, can we just go to the top? So in the very beginning, when we're here, be careful that we don't get too extended in the arm, especially you, Abigail. Yeah, and say. A bit more broken. A little bit more of a chicken wing. Yeah, and more fingers. And hide that arm on the left. There you go. Yeah. Perfect. Hold on. Can we do more? Like a doll. Yeah. Especially there because we're so still. Yeah, and when we do, what's next, the arabesque? When we come down, can you be a little bit more generous here? Like you're laying down the land a bit. Yeah. And think it. Don't just do it. Yeah. Let me see. It's nice, a little hair less, not too down, so I don't lose you. Yeah, not too much gravity, but you get the gist. Abigail. Ladies, what are we doing? So we're going down. Do we go back? Do we pull? Yeah, so just keep the épaulement to the side and then come through. We're diving, inverted diving, cutting through the air. And actually, that's a good point. When you're here, before you release, it's like we're cutting through the air, and then we arrive on this other planet, you know? Yeah. Ladies, I know you're there, but show me a little bit more. Don't just internalize it. You need to put it out in your body a bit more, especially when we're walking. Sometimes it's a little bit in the face, too. You know, just kind of that possession.
That was the next one. To see something when they're walking. Higher arabesque before they do that.
Oh, and when we do, look, it's hear it first. You're here, you hear it, and then you go. Don't just arbitrarily turn your head and walk. That's better, Abigail. That's better. Raleigh, just a bit, hear it, and then go to look at it. Can you, instead of pushing in, can you hear it? That's better. Yeah, so it's like something's beckoning you over here. Now this arabesque, you're gonna be able to balance just technically better if you take a bit more of a piqué out and lift the leg a little bit. Give you a line, you all have lines. Yeah, Abigail, I think it can be higher. Higher. And then bring that tendu through. Yeah. A little too high. No 90. We're not at the Opera House yet. Just Guggenheim. Oh, and ladies, when we go, can we get the hands a little bit further back? It's like you're hiding something. Where are we? Yeah, we're here, and we put it in our pocket. Yeah. Can we be a little bit more scoopy with the hands? Yeah. 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 And ladies, the eyes there too. A little bit more. I want to see your whites of the eyes. Don't close them. Yeah. Can you look here? There. A little bit down over your shoulder. Yeah. I'm specific.
Abigail's arms would be that more.
Oh, when you do the turn, I know we're in a tight space here, but turn, just wait for the time. Take your right foot out for this space. And this is you really setting the ground. And when they come over, instead of just letting go of the dress, can you do a little voila? Yeah. Yeah. Be in charge there. And ladies too, yeah. Especially here, I think a little bit more. Yeah, lean back a little bit. Denise Choreographer, let's go. Yeah. There you go. Yes.
All the ladies can come out.
All the ladies can come to the stage. Don't worry. What are you? Oh, when we come out, take a full 8. Turn, don't accent that turn. Think dressography, Zach. Dressography. And then from here, we can do a little, when we get to the big stage, a little bit of a slide tombe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get down, 7, 8. Yeah. So let that build the tension a little bit more there. Don't just get there. And can we be a little bit more extreme? Yes, you could be a little lower. Yes, and fingers. Yes. Oh, this just can be a lot more. Wacha! Yeah. Let me see. I'll say 5. Okay? 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. I think, ladies, it's in the port de bras. Don't be up here. Be there. That's better. So it's almost coming from underneath. You're beckoning something, because guess what happens next? The men come out. So we call them, and there they are. Yeah. Can we be a little bit more just baffled? Surrender and just be baffled. Yeah. I think here we could use a little bit more awareness in the hands. Don't forget, because this also is telling a story too. If we're just here, we're just open and bending. Yeah. Be a little bit, again, like this wavy thing we do. Yeah. So there, it's like we go, boom, and we can let it go, like a little windy. There can be a little undulation in your hands even, just ever so slightly, not too much. Anemones. Oh, and what did I say today? What did I call this? The nightmare. So what's before the nightmare? Oh yeah, the wonderment. Oh, I said today, it's like you're falling off a cliff, and then you wake up and you're like, so a little bit of that. And I think instead of pulling into the chest, like let the back go a little bit, so we're really bringing the energy into our heart. Yeah. And it's almost like your neck just choked up. Yeah. Can we be a little bit higher on the neck? Like, yeah, a little bit. Like, so I have this like shape here. See how your hands are like this? Can you flatten them? Can we flatten them? Yeah. But really bring it like a piano. Piano. Yeah.
Emily was really good showing.
Emily was really good at showing the water. So let's go to the stream. Can you remember what you did today? You're not, this is just a work in process, don't worry. Do you see? I believe her. And I think it just got... It's getting a little too, we're cleaning the floor. It's a hard knock life over here. We're all just going. We're not an Annie. So we're gonna be in Emily land, okay? So we're here, we woke up from the nightmare, and then we wake up and we're in this meadow, and it's the most pristine water that exists on this planet. And it's precious. And you just really enjoy that. Yeah. We've all done that before.
This goes back to the 4 ladies before the wave. You wanted a light attitude there.
A light attitude before...
Before the 4 ladies. Who does the four ladies, who does the wave?
When we wavy.
And there's an attitude before that?
An attitude before that. What's that? Oh, can we make that a little bit more... Right now, it's a little... Look, dressography. Yeah, ballet's hard.
And then you wanted the wave higher.
That's nice how you did that. You kind of like lasso onto something and you catch it and you just hold on to that. Yeah, you know what you did. That's better. Abigail, we can do a little bit of a, don't forget about edge off. Just the idea. Don't do it again. Do it when we do it. It'll be perfect that time, I promise, because that'll be the 3rd time. Yeah, the wave, it's too, did I say higher or lower? Can I see? We're waving a lot on this ballet. Saying goodbye to something. I think it's actually lower. Now see. No, go a bit higher again. And can you see something like 800 miles away, and you're 800 miles away from them, and you're a giant on this planet, and if you were moving really, really fast, you'd actually be moving really, really slow. So just have that that size in it, and see something. And then can we just bring up the subtlety just ever so slight so it translates a little bit more? Let me see. I've never seen anybody wave goodbye to somebody like It's beautiful on you. You do it. You do it. Everybody else don't. You keep it. Ilse's wave. That's how she does it. Okay? That's for you. However you want. But I just think it's a little too teeny-weeny. Goodbye. So long. Just kidding. Yeah.
Ilse and Denise, before you go shuffling to the back and you guys do a big border bra.
This thingamabob. When we do the double pirouette. Did I tell you to do a flat? Can we do a demi-point, please? A little high on the releve. We're cleaning the floor again. That could be a little bit more bubbly. Can you do a little bit more Sleeping Beauty there? Yeah. Dee-doo-doo-doo-doo, that part. Generosity, is that the fairy? Generosity. I also think, though, I know we're in a smaller space, but it can move a little bit more. Oh, I missed that. Okay, so let me see that again. Yeah, we'll do it on the big one. Ladies, point your talon. You're pointing your arch, point your toes. Also, okay, remember we said this whole thing, it's like, ugh, 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 ugh. And then you go. Let me see. It could be a little yuckier. And then, after the yucky, because it's mud, but then you're like, wait, this is really good mineral mud. And then you can enjoy it, you know? Yeah. And I think we can be a little bit grande there. It's a little too in your head. I need to see it in your body a little bit. Let me see. Okay. Can you do a little more? Watch this. Let's go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dare I say, just a little tortured there. Just a little bit. You know what I mean? It's getting a little too grassy, too flowy. And I keep that fluidity in your body, but can you just ramp it up? You know what the music sounds like. Just echo that a little bit more. Show it, don't feel it. I mean, you'll feel it after you show it, I promise.
That arm goes over and up.
Oh, Aram. Hi, Aram. Let me see this. We're having a treble step. No. No. First of all, this is everybody. Can you just take a look? When we go nonchalant, it's a little too nonchalant now. I need a little bit more like a NASCAR. And then you lock in on the finish line. Then you go. Yeah. Okay, what I wanted to tell you, though, is you need to go over the head and hook onto something with your arms. So, like, if I'm underneath you, go up. Go through up. Like, through and up. Yeah. Okay, ready? And you're going to rest on my arms. No. Just, yeah. Remember, you need a little bit more, use your bones a little bit more. Aram is very poetic. We're learning how to get a little bit more Feldenkrais in the movement. Yeah, use your bones. You have the fluidity, it's always gonna be there. Let me see. Show me in the show. Show me in the show. Oh, what is that? What is this?
The last 4 girls.
What are you thinking? Anything? You know, okay, when all this happens, can we do a big jump up in the air? And that's just a little bit more, dare I say, Don Quixote. Yeah, let me see. Go up here. One more time. Go. Here we go. E. You know what, just from my vantage point, with the sound of the dresses, it was like eagles. So just think like, and they never do this, but you're in a flock, you know? You just landed, yeah. So turn up the predatorial instinct a little bit there. And when you land, it's like you've landed on your nest and you're like, it's mine, you know? And then you just give it away, yeah. And then you've given it away, and this is almost just like, I have nothing to say anymore, you know? And then you're like, I'm hiding this from everybody, yeah. Like, almost put it in your pocket. Can I see? No. When you take the hand, there's so little happening in this movement that these kind of small gestures, if we don't get super specific, it's just arbitrary, hand on the mouth, cover the mouth. So I think even, can you hold my mic? You go. Just something needs to happen. You know, it's that hand coming in. Let me see. Okay, something's happening. We'll develop it. Ladies, gentlemen, do we have any questions? No. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Harrison. Maria, what is it like having Harrison in studio? I mean, that was so entertaining.
It is very entertaining. He has a wonderful sense of humor, as you can see. And it's so funny because I'm watching this work and I'm almost doing it over here. I wanted to try everything that he's asking them to do, and I think...
See it, Maria. Let's go.
I know, right?
Maria, do it too.
No, but it's so funny. I just wish, you know, part of me is like, wow, I wish I could have worked with you when I was a dancer. I think you're...
Hey, it's never too late. Never too late.
I mean...
But I think, you know, your first ballet that you did, Purcell's Suite, was such a huge success with our company, and everyone always left talking about that piece. It could be sandwiched between 2 masterpieces, but everyone left talking about Harrison Ball's piece. And every time I watched it, I would get so emotional. I think I cried every single time I watch it.
Still cry.
I do. No, I do. And it's evolved, and it's every time it gets better and better, which is why I think last time, Yeah, but I think you're bringing something really unique and special out of them, which is what a choreographer should do, you know, and I think that's when we're doing work, we're trying to be so authentic, and I think you're trying to bring out such a real quality and rare quality.
Trying to give them what I so desperately craved in my career, which was, you know, New York City Ballet, we dance a lot. And for those of you who know, you know. So you seldom get the opportunity to dive deeper than an inch. And there has to be so much instinct, and you have to be, you're born with it or you aren't. And I think I had a degree of it because I had great masters around me, but I just didn't have that full capacity I needed more time, you know, but I also needed somebody to give me that time, and in a machine like that, it's very hard to get that. And I feel very lucky to have this opportunity to work with your company because it is smaller, and there's something to be said about that, and there's something to be said about where these dancers are in their lives, and they're real deal, these guys, and they're so willing, you know, and that for me is it's contagious. When you have somebody in front of you and you have a group of dancers and they just, no ego, do it, and it's a real process where, you know, I'm almost taking in what I'm learning with the acting work, like it gets messy, and that's fine, you know, and there's no right or wrong, and if she wants to wave like that and they want to wave like this, well, that's what it is, you know, and that's just like a principle of how I'm trying to work right now and not be what I was to myself as a dancer, which is just very linear. So I don't think it's any fun if we're not gonna really dig deep, you know, and for me, where I'm at, I'm like, this is just such a gift. We live in this crazy world, and to have the opportunity and the time to be in a space with people very close to my age, it's wonderful.
Time is such a gift.
It's a
to
gift.
be able to really sit with the movement and have that time. Maria, as an artistic director, how involved are you with a new work like this? Peter Martins was very famous for being totally laissez-faire and just letting whatever happened happen. Do you do that? Where's your head?
I mean, I think your first work, you know, I had seen the 4 minutes on video, and I really loved it. And Harrison came in with a completely different idea and different music, and I said, you know...
I do that a lot, sorry.
And you did it this time, too.
And I said, I really loved what you did at the Institute. Would you consider kind of expanding on that? And he graciously thought about it and did. And I think I don't ever want to have control. I mean, this is his piece. This is his time to shine and create. But I think I really wanted to see how much further you could go with that piece. And I think with this piece, I've kind of just said, do your thing.
Thank you.
So nice. It's really beautiful. I mean, how have you seen your dancers grow through this process?
I mean, it's been amazing just to see them grow throughout the dancers that have been with me for the last few years. They've grown tremendously, and I think a new work comes in and a choreographer that's inspiring, and they soak it up, and like he said, they're so willing, and they're so eager and hungry, and it's so refreshing because they're taking in everything that we're saying, and they're applying it, and they're growing as artists, and that's all you can ask for. And I think, you know, to kind of piggyback what you said, I think what I lacked as a dancer, I try to enforce in them and try to say, you know, don't be afraid to go out on stage. Just give it 150%. I think so much, we hold ourselves back so much because we're worried about being perfect. And I said, I don't care if you fall. I said, just go out there and have a good time. Like, bring the energy to the back of the house.
What a kind thing to say to a dancer.
Rules.
Yeah.
It's that's the way we should dance. I mean, why else do we dance if we don't dance like that? So I think, and I didn't do that all the time. I did it sometimes, but not all the time. I think I put too much pressure on myself. So I try to encourage them to do that as much as I can.
That's incredible. Harrison, this has a similar vocabulary, some of the movement as your first piece, but it is to my eye, more sophisticated. Do you feel like you are creating sort of your own style in this, or is that just how you're feeling right now?
You know, it's funny. I've had people like in my work, they're like, it's so Graham. And to be really blunt, I've seen one Martha Graham performance in my life, but I think that I'm very image-driven, and I like shape, you know, and I'm a researcher. I'm an avid researcher, and all of that really is image. So, and I like history, you know, and I like I said earlier, I like ancient everything. And so I think that my work, just two things. It's a lot of that subconscious kind of bleeding in, but then it's also kind of how I always wanted to dance on stage. And I was always cast as the acrobat, which I don't know why, but I was. And I really struggled with that. And I just wanted to be like that. I wanted to be Maya Plazitskaya, but I wasn't. But and I used to emulate those ballerinas. I had a great mentor once tell me once, he said, I don't know who to watch. I'm not connecting to anybody. And he said, well, what about women? And I said, I have a huge list. And he's like, just copy them.
Yeah.
And it was the best advice I ever got, because I'm by nature me. I'm Harrison, but I can emulate these wonderful performers. And unfortunately, when you're doing Tchaikovsky pas de deux, this isn't going to really do well on a man's variation. But now I have that opportunity here, and I think that there's a lot of that coming into that. What I learned when I used to go to Paris a lot to train the parfum, so.
Yeah. And your choice to not use point shoes. Tell us a little bit about being in flat, because this is very grounded, the whole piece is.
I did something on point recently, and I just really didn't enjoy it. I felt that it limited the dancers, which the sky is the limit on point. I mean, you can do anything. You can turn, you can flip, you can all kinds of stuff. And I'm also noticing when I made that piece, I felt so overwhelmed by what I learned, which is speed. And I'm just, especially with where the world is, I just need to slow down. And in the room, I don't want to be pushing in that way, nor the dancers. I want to find what's going on in the silence and the space and in the gesture. And I don't know. I find that it's I'm just trying to dance. I just want dance. That's all. Dance, dance, dance. And to me, it's like, that's what it is, and taking point shoes off for me gives me that opportunity to do that. And I think that maybe in the future, I have lots of ideas about what I would do on point, but I'd like to enhance and develop and do much more reconnaissance on the theater building that I want to create, because I think I'm just starting with this piece, given the resources you've given me in terms of lighting, costume, I'm working with
You
Zac's
have
sister.
superstar lighting and costume.
I do. I have Brandon Sterling Baker, who's a genius, and he came to me and he speaks in lighting terms that it's musicality, and I just love that. And I have Zac's sister, Alexandra Posen, who had a theater company, experimental theater company in New York for a long time, and she's come in and doing dramaturgical work for me. And I'm actually opening my doors wide open to other people, and I'm taking as much as I can, suggestion, ideas, what's resonating, what's not resonating. And on that note, what I will say is that you have to come see the show for many reasons, but the one thing I would point out, like I said, the ballet that I'm creating is really intended to be watched from beginning to end. So, it's almost, for me, difficult to see something out of context, because there's really a ride that I'm trying to create that I've worked very hard to try to get clear. And, with the lighting elements, the costume elements, the hair, all of it, the smoke machine that we're getting, I think.
You have Maria working hard to get your photos.
It's gonna be a little Broadway. It's gonna be a little bit more theatrical, and I hope that you come and you get to experience that ballet in its fullness. But this is gonna be.
It's gonna be incredible. Maria, tell us about the entire program.
Well, another thing, I never got to dance Twyla Tharp's works. So these dancers are really lucky. I hope you know that.
Super lucky.
So we're doing 9 Sinatra songs, and that is going to close the program. But Harrison Balls world premiere will open the program on April 24th and April 25th. So we hope that you will all be there.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much closer than you think.
It's
I drive
just in Newark. It's just
every
over the
day.
bridge. Totally. Yeah.
Pat. New Jersey Performing Arts Center in
Newark.
Newark. It's in Newark, New Jersey. And if you'd like
Welcome.
tickets, njballet.com, and you can come see it. .org, sorry.
Half train, Uber,
.org.
rideshare, just do it. Just get over there and see them, not just for me, but really, I'm telling you, these dancers are gems, and they deserve our Manhattan eyes, and they're really something, and it's exciting. I think, we're always looking for things for new, and there's something over there in New Jersey.
Well, let's take a look at your piece.
So yeah, this is going to be the second movement of the piece. So, do we just start? Okay. Oh, can I just say one thing? I thought it'd be interesting to put the improvisation behind the dancing just momentarily. We had a little bit of a debacle about whether or not it was too overwhelming, but I thought it would be interesting for you as an audience to see very much a stripped back ideation of what this movement was, and we'll tune it out eventually so we don't overwhelm you too much with a lot of information. But my intent for that is to really give you a parallel insight into what the studio process is, and then what we can get to in a process. Thank you. that's all, folks.
Thank you to everyone at New Jersey Ballet. Thank you to Works in Process. Maria Harrison, this is going to be so incredible. April 24th and 25th at New Jersey Performing Arts Center in Newark, New Jersey. I hope you can all join us there. Thank you and good night. We'll see you upstairs.